Your eyes just opened. No alarm went off. Nobody made a noise. And somehow you already know, before you even check, that it's going to say 3 something. It's not anxiety, even though that's what everyone tells you. It's not just getting older, even though that's the other thing everyone tells you. There's an actual mechanism behind this. And once you see it, you're going to recognize it happening in real time the next time it wakes you up. I tell the story your nervous system would tell if it could talk. Tonight, it's telling you something specific. Cortisol isn't flat through the night. It has a shape. It drops to its lowest point somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. And then it starts climbing again, not at 6 a.m., like everyone assumes, but at 3 a.m., hours before you're supposed to be awake at all. If your baseline is already running high from weeks of stress, that 3 a.m. climb crosses a wakefulness threshold way too early. That's the entire mechanism. That's why it's 3 a.m. and not 5 a.m. or 1 a.m. Quick thing before we go further. I've put together a free cortisol system reset guide that walks through exactly how to lower that baseline, so the climb doesn't cross the threshold in the first place. The link is in the description. So let's get specific about what's actually happening at 3 a.m. Because cortisol rises isn't an explanation. It's a vague gesture at 1. Your hypothalamus runs the schedule. Around 3 a.m., it sends a signal down to your adrenal glands, 2 small structures sitting right on top of your kidneys, telling them to start producing again after the nightly low. In a healthy system, this happens slowly enough that you stay asleep right through it. The rise is gradual, gentle. You don't notice a thing. But here's where it goes wrong, and it goes wrong in a specific, traceable way. If you've been under chronic stress, work, money, a relationship, doesn't matter what kind, your midnight low never actually gets low. Instead of dropping close to 0, it might only drop to 60 or 70% of your daytime levels. So when the natural 3 a.m. climb starts, it isn't starting from the floor. It's starting from somewhere already halfway up the wall. And that's the part that crosses the line. There's a structure in your brainstem called the locus coeruleus. Think of it as your brain's emergency broadcast system, the thing that decides this is worth waking up for. Normally, it only fires that broadcast in the morning, once cortisol's properly built up. But when your 3 a.m. climb starts from an elevated floor, it crosses the locus coeruleus's threshold hours too soon. It fires. Norepinephrine floods your system, and you're awake, fully, immediately, completely awake, with your mind already running. Here's the analogy that actually makes this click for people. Imagine a smoke detector sitting in a kitchen that's had the windows shut and someone frying onions in there all week. The air's already a little smoky, all the time, even with nothing actually burning. So when the tiniest extra puff of smoke happens, which is just your body's totally normal, totally healthy 3 a.m. cortisol nudge, the detector doesn't wait for an actual fire. It's already primed. It goes off anyway. Your 3 a.m. brain isn't malfunctioning. It's a perfectly good smoke detector that's been living in a smoky kitchen for months. And here's the part that genuinely surprised me when I went looking into this properly. Each hour of disrupted sleep raises your cortisol the following day by roughly 37%, according to research out of the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology, which means every unresolved 3 a.m. wake doesn't just cost you that night. It raises tomorrow's floor, which makes tomorrow's 3 a.m. climb start even higher, which makes tomorrow night worse. You're not imagining a pattern. You built one, accidentally, one disrupted night at a time, and the loop feeds itself. If you recognize any part of this, the eyes snapping open, the mind already running, the same exact hour, night after night, the free cortisol system reset guide in the description maps out specifically how to lower that midnight floor so the 3 a.m. climb stops, crossing the line. Subscribe, because video 6 covers the 4 things to actually do the moment you wake up at 3 a.m. What works in the next 4 minutes? Starting with the one thing almost everyone does first, that makes it considerably worse.